And good evening. I'm Sade Bitter-Moi.
And I'm Mike Marza. Thanks so much for joining us for this special primary election coverage right here at ABC-7 in Y. It is 9 o'clock and the polls just officially closed, and we're still waiting for those early returns to come in.
The biggest contest is the Democratic mayoral primary. 9 candidates are on the ballot, many of them speaking with voters at polling places across the city today. Now we await the results, and as they come in during this newscast, we will bring them to you.
Our live team coverage begins with Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett, who is at a watch party for Andrew Cuomo. Of course, his supporters there as well in the West Village. What's the scene where you are, NJ?
Mike, I would say the mood right now is optimistic. That's what you're hearing from the Cuomo people, his surrogates who are out here working the floor. But I would throw in the word cautiously, because as you know, as Sade knows, this race is a lot closer than they ever expected it would be. I mean, remember, when Cuomo got into the race in February, he immediately shot to a 35-point lead over the other candidates in the race. And so they were able to stand back, or at least in their own minds, stand back and run a Rose Garden strategy and essentially issue press releases and policy papers and run a lot of TV ads portraying the city as a city in crisis, and that only Andrew Cuomo can step in and actually put it all back together. So again, the mood here is one, I would say, of cautious optimism. I think he is widely expected to win the first round of ranked choice voting. But after that, at this point, based on the latest polls, it's anyone's guess. Now, I spoke just a moment ago with senior policy advisor for the Cuomo campaign, Paul Francis. Here's what he had to say. Paul, what is the mood tonight?
Well, I think the mood is optimistic. People have been working very hard and hope for a good outcome.
And do you feel that in the campaign the governor did what he had to do?
Oh, I think so. I think he was terrific, and he made his case why he's the best person to be next mayor of New York, and I think the voters will speak to that tonight.
What were the issues that you tried to hammer home in this campaign?
Well, I think public safety, affordability, quality of life, all things that Governor Cuomo has worked on really his whole career. And I think presented a very, strong case for the public.
And we will, of course, see what the public is saying once the votes start to come in. Again, the mood here, cautious optimism. This was a much tighter race than they expected. I don't think there is much doubt that Governor Cuomo will come in on top. He is expected to win tonight in the first round of ranked choice voting. The question is, by how much? We're live in the West Village, NJ Burkett, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. Back to Mike and Sade.
Yeah, Andrew, NJ, I'm wondering if Andrew Cuomo's people were concerned at all with this heat, and how does that play to his voters? Did they come out?
Well, I think that they felt, well, look, they were concerned from the very beginning. As soon as they heard Lee Goldberg's forecast, I think they knew that there could be trouble for them. It was obviously really scorching hot today, and a lot of their voters, let's face it, centrist Democrats, dyed-in-the-wool New York City Democrats, that's his core base of people, and a lot of them skew older. Mamdonni's voters generally skew younger. So does that give Mamdonni an advantage? Yeah, of course it does. Was Cuomo able to turn out the vote? That's the question. As I said a moment ago, Cuomo's expected to win tonight, but it's only the first round. So the question is, does he win by a lot, or does he just squeak by? That's what we're going to have to watch tonight, Sade.
All right, NJ Burkett reporting. Thanks so much, NJ. Well, now we're going to go to that other front runner that NJ was talking about, Assemblyman Zohran Mamdonni.
Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson live at the Mamdonni Watch Party in Long Island City, Queens. What's the mood there tonight, Kim?
The mood here again is cautiously optimistic, but in terms of Zohran Mamdonni, the changing of the guard in the next iteration of the Democratic Party, he said he is committed to ushering in the next generation with a laser focus on the middle and working class. Yes, the stage here is set, and we're told that Mamdonni will arrive right around 10:30 tonight. He's not here yet. They're still setting up the room. We are inside a restaurant. It's called Greats of Class. It has a stunning view of the 59th Street Bridge. Experts are calling the 33-year-old the surging contender. Recent polls showed the gap narrowed between him and front-runner Andrew Cuomo. Compared to others in the race, Mamdonni's political resume is lean. He first got into politics only in 2015, but the Democratic Socialist knows what he wants. Among his priorities, raising the corporate tax, a flat 2% tax for those making $1 million annually. He wants free city buses, raising the minimum wage, and a rent freeze on stabilized apartments. He is ambitious, the youngest candidate, which plays well with many younger voters who increasingly rely on social media. His campaign had been packed full of slick, high-produced videos on Instagram and other sites. His cross-endorsement with Brad Lander has no doubt given him an edge, along with backing from Congressman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Just today, Bernie Sanders urged voters to go with Mamdonni. He was literally up with the sun this morning at sunrise, delivered what he called the closing argument. Very confident of what he says is the dawn of a new day for New York City. Again, we expect to see Mamdonni here right around 10:30 tonight. He will probably be with his wife, most likely with his wife, Rama, who actually the couple met on a dating app and just got married earlier this year. Also expected to be here, his parents. His mom is an award-winning filmmaker, and his father is a professor at Columbia. This night is still young. Folks are still just arriving. We will be here throughout. For now, we're live in Long Island City, Queens. Kimberly Richardson, Channel 7, Eyewitness News. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kimberly, thank you. And another infusion of optimism in the Mamdonni camp, at least early on. This our first look at some of the early numbers with 38% of the expected vote in. You can see Mamdonni taking that early lead, 43% to Andrew Cuomo's 34%.
Yeah, and no big surprise here. We just heard from NJ, who's with the Cuomo camp, saying that, talking about all of those votes going in, those early voters, those young voters going for Mamdonni. So no big surprise now. We'll see how it shakes out for the rest of the night.
Still a long way to go. 38% of the expected vote in. Again, this is the early vote, that record early vote that's being tabulated and put onto your screen right now. We'll see how the votes break for today. Meanwhile, you see in third place right now in this early stage, Brad Lander with 13%. There's a watch party in Park Slope tonight as they are eagerly awaiting these numbers as well.
And we've got Stefan Kim there with the very latest. What's the mood there, Stefan?
Well, Sade and Mike, the Lander team sees the numbers. They know that he doesn't have enough support to win this race outright, but they also know he has enough support to tip this race one way or the other. So for the Lander campaign, this isn't necessarily about winning this race outright. It is about blocking Andrew Cuomo's path to City Hall. And he will, of course, say he's in this race to win it, but this has effectively become a two-person race between the former governor and Zohran Mamdonni. That's why Lander and the assembly member cross-endorsed each other, and it's in what was the first true cross-endorsement in a mayor's race under ranked choice voting. Mamdonni's campaign had been closing in on the frontrunner, Andrew Cuomo. So if you do the math, Mamdonni's numbers plus Lander's numbers could help propel the self-described Democratic Socialist to an upset victory. The two of them even campaigned together today, making it clear the focus is slamming the brakes on Cuomo's comeback bid.
The number one goal was to add votes together to block Andrew Cuomo so that we don't wind up with a corrupt, abusive, bitter, sour politics of the past.
Now, polls show before that cross-endorsement that many of the supporters who backed Lander were ranking Andrew Cuomo second. You have to assume after the cross-endorsement, a number of those voters then shifted to Mamdonni. The question is how many. Also, in the closing final stretch of this race, as we know last week, Brad Lander made a headline-grabbing story when he was arrested by ICE officers at Federal Plaza. Polls have also shown that Lander had gained some momentum in this final stretch. The question again is how much of those supporters did he grab and how many of them swung to Mamdonni through that cross-endorsement. That's the latest from here in Park Slope. Back to you guys.
All right, Stefan, thank you. Scott Stringer and Adrian Adams are also hosting watch parties. We're going to check back in with them in just a moment.
Yeah, right now we want to bring in political reporter Avery Harper. Avery, thank you so much. You just saw the numbers come in right now, all going for Mamdonni. No big surprise here.
Right. I mean, those are some of the early votes that we saw, which again could skew in favor Mamdonni. We're still going to wait for some of that election day vote. But what I thought was really interesting there is if you look at the numbers for Brad Lander, he is in third place there. You have to remember that he and Zohran Mamdonni have cross-endorsed each other. And so if this gets to the point where the votes have to be used and utilize the ranked choice voting system where we see those votes tabulated on July 1st, that is going to benefit Zohran Mamdonni. I'm not sure who, if they have not voted for Andrew Cuomo as their first choice, where might he be getting some of those ranked choice votes from? I'm not sure. That's something that I'm going to be really interested to see as we see some of the vote come in later on tonight.
Avery, you mentioned ranked choice, and that is the overarching umbrella where we're watching all of this unfold today. Let's talk a little bit about this and get into the weeds a bit, because this is the first round which we expect to see these numbers come in. But it's going to be about a week before we get to that second round where that could play a role, where the cross endorsement of Brad Lander and Zohran Mamdonni. In the unlikely event, right, that somebody reaches 50%, which would end it right then, if we go to the second, third, fourth round, how does that play out when ranked choice voting applies to this mayoral primary?
Right, listen, this is still a relatively new system. This is only the second time this has been utilized in a mayoral primary. And so everybody's still trying to get used to it. So what happens is, if you voted today, you were able to choose your first through your fifth votes, fifth choices for mayor. Today, we're going to see the unofficial count of all those first choice votes. And then if no one gets that 50%, we will head to the tabulation of those ranked choice votes, that second through fifth choices that the Board of Elections will tabulate starting July 1st. They're waiting for some of that mail-in vote to arrive. What happens is at the end of each round, the last place finisher is going to be eliminated, and then those votes are redistributed to the voter's next choice. That continues over and over again until we have two candidates left, and then whoever has the most votes will win.
And if one of them loses, Cuomo or Mamdonni, they both have decided we're not ruling out being an independent. So we could still see them both on the ballot.
Right. This is a situation where we could see more choices than voters really expected back in November. So we're going to see Mayor Eric Adams. He will definitely be on the ballot as an independent in November. We could see Andrew Cuomo run on what's called the Fight and Deliver line. Zohran Mamdonni could run on the Working Families Party line, and Curtis Lee was going to run on the Republican line.
Of course, talking about the general election, which now we all sort of turn our attention to after this primary. Avery Harper, if you don't mind, hang out for a second. We've got a lot more questions for you, but we do want to check in with Adrienne Adams' watch party. The speaker having a watch party tonight as she makes a run for the mayorship. Josh Einiger is there right now in Jamaica, Queens. And Josh, I'm just curious, as we're talking about this ranked choice vote, how that's playing in the room tonight with what Adrienne Adams has been looking at and what her campaign is looking at, knowing the numbers are not necessarily in her favor. How are they receiving primary night?
Yeah, they're receiving it with a high degree of warmth in multiple senses of the word, Mike. I'll get into that in a second. First, I want to tell you what's going on here. It's actually cooler outside on the sidewalk than it is inside the Adrienne Adams watch party. This block of Jamaica, Queens is undergoing a Con Ed brownout, weather-related, according to the campaign. This bar has just enough power to run a sound system, the TVs, and the ice makers, which is good for the people here who are enjoying themselves as they wait for the candidate to get here. Right now, the State Attorney General Letitia James recently walked in here in the last couple of minutes. She is Adams's perhaps highest octane supporter on the stump during this relatively short-lived campaign. We could show you video from earlier in Brooklyn at the Brooklyn College Flatbush Avenue subway stop. That's where the city council speaker was greeting voters this morning, trying to get them out to vote. Now, as you point out, Mike, the ranked choice voting and her strategy related to ranked choice voting has been key, perhaps, in losing her support or impacting the race in some way or another. She, of course, would not cross-endorse Zohran Mamdonni as had been requested, as he did for her, in an attempt to keep the progressive wing of this party together and try to blunt the force that Andrew Cuomo Cuomo might have to rise above them. Adams has made the point that she wanted to support specifically her community that she represents here in southern Queens and wanted to go it effectively alone at the last minute, releasing a statement endorsing all people who are endorsed by the Working Families Party, not Mamdonni specifically. Right now, there is, you say, not a lot of intrigue about what the results might be when it comes to Adams. People here are fired up, though. She's expected to show up just before 10 o'clock, and that's when they say the party in there will really heat up. We're live in Jamaica, Queens. Josh Einiger, Channel 7, Eyewitness News. Mike and Sade.
Okay, Josh, thank you. Well, former New York City Comptroller and former Manhattan Borough President Scott Stringer is holding a watch party on the Upper West Side. Let's check in with Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang. Lucy, how's it looking there?
Well, we're at Blondie's, a sports bar here on the Upper West Side, where they do have power, thank goodness, and air conditioning. Scott Stringer is expected to arrive within the next half hour. The 66-year-old self-described liberal Democrat has been out in the heat all day trying to touch voters on this election day. Stringer is no stranger to politics and to this particular race. He's been an elected official for 28 years, first as a New York State Assemblyman, then Manhattan Borough President, then City Controller. 4 years ago, he ran for mayor but did not make it out of the pack during the Democratic primary. So he decided to mount another bid, hoping not to get elbowed out of the crowded field again. No doubt Stringer has experience, but was he able to leverage it to his advantage? The voters will answer that tonight. For now, we're live on the Upper West Side. I'm Lucy Yang for Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, thank you, Lucy.
We are getting some new numbers. You know, every bit of information we want to pass along to you. So we're now up to 39% of the expected vote. Let's put it on your screen so you can see it along with us. Zohran Mamdonni maintaining that early vote lead with 34% Andrew Cuomo, and Mamdonni coming in at the top at this point at 43%.
Yeah, we want to bring Avery Harper back in again on this conversation. What are you gleaning from these latest numbers?
Well, listen, if you are in Mamdonni's camp right now, you're feeling pretty good. You're hoping that he's able to maintain that lead throughout the night, and if those ranked choice votes come into play. I think if you look at who is in third, again, Brad Lander being in third, that bodes well for Zohran Mamdonni. And so I'm really interested as we continue to see the vote come in, where these votes are coming from. Zohran Mamdonni, he is from Queens, and he really did focus on campaigning in the outer boroughs. And so if we see the votes and folks in the outer boroughs outperform some of what they were expected in terms of turnout, that could also bode well for Zohran Mamdonni. Interested to see also what the turnout was among older voters. We know those voters skew for Cuomo. So still a lot to learn tonight from the outstanding vote.
Have about 90 seconds left in this conversation, but I'm interested because, you know, this took on such a national spotlight, and so many people were watching and are watching this race with the endorsements and just the intrigue. Of course, it's New York, but it's also the politics at play here too. What do you make of the national stage that this has taken?
Right, I think it's because the dynamics that are in play in this race are also at play in the national party. Things like the age of the candidates. Should the Democratic Party be leaning into elder statesmen like Cuomo, or younger folks and more progressive folks like Zohran Mamdonni? Should they be reaching out to more moderate voters or more progressive voters? Those are conversations that are happening not only here in New York, but nationwide.
Okay, Avery, thank you so much. We're running out of time, but we're going to keep you around.
Yes.
Oh, actually, we're told that we still have another minute left, so so let's still use you, Avery. but you know, we were talking about this national conversation. I know that there are a lot of Democrats that are not happy with the party overall. I think that there was a latest Reuters Ipsos poll from just last week that found that Democrats were overall dissatisfied with their party's leadership and believe the economy is the most pressing issue. What can we glean actually from this race in terms of the national conversation? Right.
The Democratic Party is really trying to find a way to rebuild itself and regain some power after losses up and down the ballot in November. And so there's a lot of disagreement about how to do that. And so, of course, like I mentioned before, when you talk about which ideological faction of the party should they go with in order to try and come out on top and try to start winning in Washington, where they have little power, and in places like New York, where they're trying to maintain power, that's a big question, right? Should they be going with candidates who have more moderate views, or should they be leaning into somebody like a Zohran Mamdonni, who's a self-described democratic socialist? That's a huge question.
And also you have Cuomo, who is saying, I'm going to be the one who's going to be fighting against Trump and his policies.
Right, he says that he is the most experienced candidate to do that. We'll see if that's effective.
We will see. Avery Harper, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thanks for joining us and watching on ABC7 NY. We're going to be back here streaming with another update at 10 p.m.
Getting new information, updates now with 40% of the expected vote in. The percentages haven't changed, but stay locked into those results as they come in right here at ABC7 NY. And of course, we'll be back with Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock with a recap of everything that unfolds throughout this primary night.
of you. I am so full of gratitude and in awe of the energy, the generosity, the smarts, the heart, and the love that folks in this room have dedicated to this campaign, to Brad, to me, and to our family. Your support and trust in us means everything. And I want to bring some other folks into the room with us tonight. Brad is who he is because of his family. And some of you have heard me say that I did okay in picking a husband, but I hit the jackpot on the in-laws department.
And good evening. I'm Mike Marza.
And I'm Sade Better-NY. Thank you for joining us for our special primary election coverage on ABC7 NY. It is 10 o'clock. Well, it's actually after 10 now, and the polls closed 1 hour ago, and we are watching the returns come in.
Yeah, and some big news in just the past few moments. Let's throw up the numbers because 87% of the expected vote already in, and Zohran Mamdonni maintaining that lead that he has enjoyed throughout this count over the past hour over Andrew Cuomo with 36%. And just a few minutes ago, the Associated Press now declares that no one will get over that magic 50% threshold, which means that will trigger the ever-important ranked choice voting tabulation.
Let's bring in ABC News political director Avery Harper. Avery, I'm looking at these numbers. Is there a path forward for Cuomo?
I think it's going to certainly be an uphill battle for former Governor Andrew Cuomo to try and come back on top or try to narrow the gap between himself and Zohran Mamdonni. And it's quite remarkable because you have to remember, Andrew Cuomo was leading by double digits for much of this race. For much of this race, he was far out ahead of all the other candidates. And we've only seen that movement happen in the last few weeks.
Yeah, and it is interesting, too, because you had that cross endorsement between Brad Lander, who is now in third, and Zohran Mamdonni. And now that we go to ranked choice, how will that cross endorsement play a role here?
Right. Now, will voters, all of those 14% now go to Cuomo?
Right. You can imagine that a lot of those votes for Brad Lander will be going to Zohran Mamdonni as the Board of Elections moves to this ranked choice voting system. And again, I don't know where votes could come from for Cuomo. That's going to be a really tough thing for him to overcome.
Yeah, and the question, we were talking about this earlier, you were even questioning, does he even come back out again? You know, he again said that he would go as an independent if need be. If he loses here, we could still see him on the ballot.
He has not ruled it out. He is going to have a line on the general election ballot, the Fight and Deliver Party. His campaign has tried to dismiss the notion of him running as an independent on that line because they wanted to focus on this race. They believed that Andrew Cuomo would come out on top in this primary. That is in question tonight as we see all of these numbers come in.
Now, refresh our memory here because people hear ranked choice voting and it gets a little confusing when you get through the weeds on this. How will this play out now that we expect this to go to ranked choice?
Right, so everything that we're seeing tonight is the first choices that voters have made at the ballot box tonight. And so what happens now that there isn't a candidate that has reached 50% of the vote, now it goes to those second through fifth choices that voters made on their ballots. So at the end of each round of voting, the last place finisher is going to be eliminated. And that vote, those votes are going to be redistributed to the voters' next choice. That happens over and over again until there's two candidates left, and then whoever has the most votes at that point becomes the winner in this race.
Okay, Avery, thank you so much. We hope you still stick around.
Yes,
we
do.
need to come back to you. Right now, we want to go to Mamdonni's camp. Kimberly Richardson is there live at a watch party in Long Island City, Queens. And Kimberly, I am sure there is a lot of excitement building tonight.
There is, and even with word of things now seemingly moving to round two under ranked choice voting, moments ago, cheers inside headquarters, pump fists. Take a look, the room is filling up now, and with that, a sense of excitement, as Zohran Mamdonni calls it, as we're heading into the dawn of a new day in New York City. From the very beginning of his campaign, the 33-year-old spent much of his time introducing himself to voters. He first got into politics in 2015. 2016, was elected to the state assembly in 2020, representing Queens' 36th district. The platform he ran on then very much mirrors the priorities he hopes to accomplish as mayor, includes police reform, affordability in the 5 boroughs for both the middle and working class. Experts have been calling him the surging contender, with recent polls showing him on the heels of frontrunner Andrew Cuomo, and at this point he is overperforming in areas where he was expected to do well. Mamdonni's campaign spent a lot of time and energy getting the word out on social media, which really resonates with younger voters, which is core to his mission. A changing of the guard in the Democratic Party, but his reach is wide. Take a listen. A gentleman told me, he was an older gentleman actually that we talked to, he told me that one of the things that really attracted him to Zohran is that he represents diversity. Zohran grew up, he was born in Uganda, and spent time as a young boy in Cape Town, South Africa, before moving here to the United States at the age of 7. His mom told me, Zohran shared something with me when I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. He told me that his duty is to tell the stories of New Yorkers who typically are not heard. That's what's resonating with a lot of folks. Mamdonni saying that he wants to focus on the working class and middle class. This room here waiting for him to arrive. We're told he will arrive sometime around 10:30. I'm sure the roof will go crazy here. Back to you guys inside.
No doubt about that. Party atmosphere only going to continue for the Mamdonni camp. Kimberly Richardson, thank you. Now let's go to the other front runner in this race. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett at a watch party for Andrew Cuomo in the West Village. And NJ, you know, when you think about this campaign and where it was just months ago, certainly not where they thought they would be and where they wanted to be at this point in primary night.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of disappointment there tonight.
Yeah, Sade, what can you say? But Zohran Mamdonni has flipped the script on Andrew Cuomo. Look at those numbers on the screen. Reverse those numbers, and that's where the campaign thought they would be, worst case scenario. Instead, you have a nightmare night for the former governor. Clearly, as you know, the polls were changing. The polls were shifting. Mamdonni was surging. Yeah, when Cuomo, you guys reference it, like when Cuomo entered the campaign 4 months ago, he ran a bunch of TV ads. He issued a lot of press releases. They issued policy papers. But it was weeks before he actually got out into the crowds, before he actually had rallies. And he had rallies with union workers and secured a lot of union endorsements and political endorsements. But clearly, as you're looking at the results, that was not enough. Yes, it's only the first round. I would say to you that I think they expected, 4 months ago that he would walk across the finish line and finish this whole thing up tonight. But obviously, as the polls got tighter, that was not going to happen. But they did not expect this. Now, earlier I spoke to Jessica Ramos, a state senator, who discussed with me the opportunity that Cuomo had and what he had to do in the campaign. Here's what she said to us.
This has been a much closer race than the Cuomo team thought it would be. Is that correct?
I think this has been a very close race, a very defining race of what the Democratic Party is, can be, who wants to define what being a Democrat means. I want to make sure that we're building a big tent and really building bridges across working neighborhoods, not just across voters who are interested in ideology, but much more in delivering on everyday services.
If the governor doesn't get the nomination, do you think he should run as an independent?
Well, he already is. So it doesn't matter what I think, he's already on the ballot as an independent. And I would imagine the other candidate would be on the ballot on the WFP line. So that's what it is.
And Senator, you mentioned we do expect to hear from Governor Cuomo at some point within the hour. When we do, we'll get back to you. We're live in the West Village. NJ Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
NJ, thank you. And now we're beginning to hear from Brad Lander. He's speaking at the podium at his headquarters in Park Slope. Let's listen in.
Tough action. Choose for Racial and Economic Justice. You heard just a few minutes ago from Public Advocate Jumani Williams. We have some other amazing people in the room, like State Assembly Member Emily Gallagher. Thank you. And I'll mention a few more later as I see them and as they come in. But all of you, will everyone in this room who hosted a house party raise your hand? How about everyone who made a contribution to this campaign? How about everyone who stood outside today on the hottest day in 15 years? I really can't believe you all did that. It is incredible. I always say that really the thing I am most proud of in public service is building the best teams, and we have the best one of all. Our volunteers, and especially, boy, our campaign staff, they put on a masterclass in what dedication looks like when you've got the right people in place. So let's hear it for the best damn staff of any campaign in this race. Raise your hands, Landers, Team Landers staff, please. Also, the only unionized staff in the campaign. You guys obviously wrote the best policies and plans, that's hands down. You obviously did the best Andrew Cuomo oppo. Hit after hit after hit. You were the best debate preparers, obviously. And you even finally succeeded in making me look good on TikTok. Really, your devotion, your passion, your belief in me as the right leader for this city mean more than I could possibly communicate. And we had some incredible consultants on this race, so thank you, Berlin Rosen and Global Strategy and Blake Zeff and everybody else who worked on this team. I also need to thank some of the most important people in my life and on this campaign. I mean, of course, the New York Times editorial board. Just kidding, of course. I love Wordle and Connections, but I really urge the Times to cancel their new feature, Editorial Riddles. No one likes those. No, obviously, I mean the set of people who are standing here behind me, my incredible parents, Carol and David. I'm sorry that Andrew Cuomo attacked St. Louis in the debate. We showed him. But really, I often say that my parents are proud of me like it's the 5th grade spelling bee, which I did not win. And I couldn't be prouder to be your son. Big shout out and thank you to Meg's sister Beth, who is here. And to my sister Rachel, unbelievable partner. Rosa, I'm not jealous that you're better than me on TikTok. But I'm a little jealous that you're more emotionally mature than me and you don't even care about it. Marek, it really is like 100% true that I only won that debate because you told me I better. I mean, I know there's a lot of proud parents in this room, 2 of them standing behind me. But no father could possibly be prouder of their kids than I am, really.
And we couldn't be prouder of you.
Whew. Meg, this thing is hard. To say that you have been my rock is just like such a dramatic understatement. I genuinely cannot believe my good fortune. You were brilliant the other day when I was detained and you held it down in front of that crowd. even though you hate the mic. And even better, on Friday when we went back there, you should have seen, we saw a family separation right before our eyes. A woman 8 months pregnant with her husband like ripped from her arms as we are standing there, like the most horrific thing, honestly, I might have ever seen. But somehow, like, an angel was sent to try to help her get through the most impossible moment of her life. And seriously, like, whatever happens in this race, whatever happens in the future, like, I am the luckiest guy in the world just to get to go home and spend the night with you. Please don't listen all the way to the end of the Breakfast Club episode. Too late now. All right. When we started this campaign last year, I could never have imagined what we would build and what we would encounter along the way. For one thing, we imagined the toughest primary opponent at the time would be Eric Adams. He took care of himself. But over these last few months, I have had the extraordinary privilege, alongside so many of you, of seeing New Yorkers in every corner of the city. And it truly renews your faith in New York City. Like, I really have a hard time describing how much I love this city. We did town halls with public housing residents in South Jamaica. We celebrated Eid with Ghanaian and Nigerian immigrants in Morris Park in the Bronx. We brought tenants together from what we thought were dozens of buildings, like 63 Tiffany and the Greenbrook tenants, only to discover that they had won changes that protected tenants in thousands of buildings across the city. We launched our climate plan on a rooftop in Gowanus, not too far from here. We launched our transportation plan in Astor Place with some of the best transportation advocates in the business, really anywhere in the world. No one has ever had more fun eating a hot dog on the Coney Island Cyclone. It really has been the proudest, hardest, most humbling, and awe-inspiring time in my whole life. And I mostly just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who heard our call for a mayor who's got the integrity to end the era of Adams Cuomo corruption. A mayor with the progressive values that New Yorkers share. And a mayor with the government know-how to deliver on them. And these last 2 weeks have been especially remarkable. I'll be honest, 2 weeks ago today, like just 2 weeks ago today, I really was not looking forward to tonight, honestly. And then the very next day, that New York Times opinion panel said I was the best candidate to lead this city. And a few days later, Ezra Klein followed it with the nicest things anyone has ever said about me other than Meg and my parents. And then that night, I got up on the debate stage, inspired by Marek, and I hope I made you proud by showing New Yorkers just how unfit Andrew Cuomo would be to be our next mayor. To make clear that we're going to stand by women who are survivors of sexual harassment. We're not going to allow that in our city government. That we're going to insist on a government that tells the truth, that stands up for folks who are undocumented, that insists on honesty and integrity at City Hall. It is not too much to ask for. And on that debate stage, you know, he showed himself to be the bitter, abusive, corrupt, selfish form of politics that we're done with. I want to say that again. We're done with them. Andrew Cuomo is in the past. He is not the present or future of New York City. Good fucking riddance. No. We can do it later. But honestly, here's what's even more important, because we weren't in this race just to protect our city from going down a dark, corrupt timeline. We're in this race to restore hope to our beloved city. And that is what we're doing tonight. The values that pulled me into public service, the values that pulled you into this campaign, they will guide us forward. A better, safer, more affordable city is possible. We know it is. We're building it. Government can deliver the real results that people need.
And you were just listening to City Comptroller Brad Lander thanking his supporters, thanking his family. And again, on this first round of voting, he came in third place, 11%. And, you know, it seems just how crucial this teaming up, this cross endorsement with the Mamdonni camp is going to play for this second round.
Certainly passionate, added some colorful language there as he talked about some of the politics playing out. So we're going to leave Park Slope, Brooklyn, and now we're going to go to the Upper West Side, where we just heard from former New York City Comptroller and former Manhattan Borough President Scott Stringer. He's holding a watch party at Blondie's, the sports bar up there. Lucy Yang has been staked out. So what did Mr. Stringer have to say, and what was the mood there tonight, Lucy?
Well, Scott Stringer took to the podium around 9:20 this evening here on the Upper West Side. He told his campaign he had a small but mighty run, and he thanked his donors and volunteers. The lifelong politician actually gave a very gracious speech, sounding like the statesman in the pack. He has 28 years of elected office experience, which he called the most honorable profession of all. 66-year-old Stringer has been city controller, Manhattan Borough President, and a state assemblyman. This was Stringer's second attempt at Gracie Mansion, but the early numbers suggest he will not be handed the keys to City Hall. Scott Stringer joked he would need an 11 o'clock surge at this point. I spoke with him tonight about his next chapter. After all he's ever known is elected office.
We're going to have to unite this city. If the election results are what they are right now, we've got two candidates that are going to slug it out to the very end. This is going to be a very close race no matter which one wins. Our job as Democrats is to bring the political groups together and figure out how we can all work together, because this city needs a lot of help, and the people who win will be the government, but the rest of us have to pitch in as well. So I'm very excited to have that conversations with whoever wins the race and whatever the outcome is.
Now, Scott Stringer had these words for this room this evening. He told his supporters, keep the friendships you made on the campaign trail, stay together, build common ground. We're live on the Upper West Side, where it was an early night for the former city controller. I'm Lucy Yang for Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, Lucy, thank you. Now let's take another look at the results in for the mayoral primary. We have, again, 90% of the expected vote in, but it has been called. Zohran Mamdonni with 44%, Andrew Cuomo 36%. We're looking at perhaps a political upset tonight. And Brad Lander 11% with Adrian Adams at 4%.
The Associated Press saying that we will not have a declared winner tonight. So even though Zohran Mamdonni at 44%, the expectation is that nobody will cross that 50% threshold. Certainly the case for Adrian Adams, as you see it right now at 4%. Let's check back in with Josh Einiger, because he's at the Adams watch party tonight. And Josh, you know,
actually, you know, we're just receiving word that Andrew Cuomo is speaking. Let's take a listen.
Bloomberg, who stepped forward in a big way. I enjoyed having the team back together again. I'll tell you the truth. People came back from when I was at HUD. The old HUD team came back. That's 30 years ago. And the Attorney General team, that's 20 years ago, and the governor's team, and friends that go back to my childhood. So that was all enjoyable, and I'm very proud of the campaign that we ran, and I'm proud of the effort that we put forth, and I'm proud of the issues that we discussed. But tonight was not our night. Tonight was Assemblyman Mamdonni's night, and he put together a great campaign, and he touched young people and inspired them and moved them and got them to come out and vote. and he really ran a highly impactful campaign. I called him, I congratulated him, I applaud him sincerely for his effort, and let's give him a round of applause and thank him for his campaign. Now, I want to look at all the numbers as they come in, and this ranked choice voting, and what the numbers actually say and do. There is no doubt that there are important issues that are facing this city. That's why this election is so imperative. That's why so many people came out to vote, because these are real issues. And they're not getting better, and they're getting worse. And that's why New Yorkers are as concerned as they are. So the challenges we face are real, and they deserve real consideration. And I want to give some thought about the best way to help address them, the best way to help the party, but most of all, the best way to help the city. And that's what we'll be thinking about as we go forward. So we'll be looking at that. We'll be having conversations with that because the work is what is most important, and the city is what is most important, and the progress for the city at this important time is what is most important. And in the meantime, I just want to say thank you again from the bottom of my heart for your really fantastic effort and friendship. Again, I want to applaud the Assemblyman for a really smart and good and impactful campaign. Tonight is his night. He deserved it. He won. And we're going to take a look. We'll make some decisions. But I love each and every one of you, and I thank you for what you've done. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And you were just listening to former Governor Cuomo thanking his supporters, also saying that he called Mamdonni to congratulate him, saying that it was his night. He touched young people, he inspired them, and he moved them to vote. We've got Avery back in here, and Avery, I can't help but to think, he said, I'm going to look at what's best, the best way to help the city, to help the party. Is this a sign that, he could drop out?
I mean, this does not sound like someone who is ready to fight to stay in this race. I mean, he did say that he's going to take a look at the numbers. We still have to run the ranked choice tabulation next week. The Board of Elections will have to do that. And so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. But when you look at the numbers tonight, I mean, Andrew Cuomo and his campaign did not expect for him to be running 8 points behind Zohran Mamdonni. And, I talked about this race being reflective of the National Democratic Party, the decision whether to lean into progressive ideals or to moderate voters, for younger voters to try and usher in a new generation of leadership or to go with elder statesmen. And this is a little bit of an indicator of where the enthusiasm with the party might lie. It might lie with those younger voters with more progressive ideas. And so we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, the momentum appears to be on Mamdonni's side.
All right, ABC News Political Director Avery Harper, appreciate your perspective as always. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching us on ABC7 NY.
We're going to have the latest election results coming for you on Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock. Hope to see you.
everyone. We're finally getting started. I'm Elle Biscard Church, I am Zohran Mamdonni's campaign manager. Okay, before we welcome Zohran to the stage, and I know we are so excited to see him, I want to say first a few words of gratitude and reflection and bring up a few other special partners. It is deeply moving to look out and see so many of the friends who have built this electric campaign. We have so many leaders here tonight, but I want to recognize our very first endorsers. Those who believed in us before New York knew Zohran's name. So let's hear a round of applause for New York City DSA! The New York Working Families Party! We also have here our trusted advisors, our loved ones, our elected partners, our volunteers, and our absolutely amazing staff! Everyone in this room has contributed to a disciplined, bold, and principled campaign. It has been run by the left and organized to win! Ours has been a campaign of trust, of joy, of camaraderie, and I am immensely proud to be a part of it alongside all of you. 5 years ago, before my first day as Zohran's chief of staff, we sat together and we articulated the vision for the movement that we hoped to build. Each day, we would work to embody the values of a better world. We would campaign, legislate, and organize in a way to make these values true by our actions. We would resist the creeping fascist tide through trust, and we would build trust by acting trustingly. And it has been the same with this campaign. We have already realized an image of the city we want and we deserve. Together we have built and strengthened our shared bonds, bonds of struggle, bonds of friendship, bonds between families, neighbors, and tenants. This campaign has never been about the achievement of a singular end goal. It's not just about the struggle for solidarity, it's about the solidarity in the struggle. All this coming together of tens of thousands of strangers to support one another and fight for our shared values. This movement in itself is a force, and this movement is a victory over alienation and cynicism. So please look around you and don't forget, these are our people. You are not alone and you are not powerless. I I am so proud of all that we are becoming, and now it is my honor to introduce one of Zohran's first supporters, both in the race for mayor and when first elected to the assembly. Our Congresswoman, working class champion, and incredible partner of our campaign, Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez.
From Zohran, so thank you so much. I am just so proud of all of you for the work that you put together to get to this moment and to work so hard for the city that we all love. So let me just say, hello, Long Island City! What a night! This campaign has shocked the world. But everyone in this room knew we were going to do it. You believed in this movement when the pundit said it couldn't be done. You knocked on doors, made calls, talked to neighbors, and tonight, we made history. Zohran Mamdonni brought people from every background together around a simple, powerful idea that New York City should be a city for everyone. Not just the wealthy, not just the well-connected, everyone. He spoke to the struggles we all see: rising rents, crumbling public services, working families barely hanging on, and he gave us something real to believe in. There is not special formula here. It's about listening to our people, to our community, and putting together a vision for the future of this city. You know what? The billionaires are watching this moment. And they are going to spend everything they got to stop Zohran. Why? Because they know that this campaign threatens business as usual, and they are scared. So tonight we celebrate, but tomorrow we get back to work. We are going to knock even more doors. We are going to organize in every borough. We are going to turn this people power victory into a movement that takes us all the way to City Hall. And together, we are going to elect Zohran as the next mayor of New York and change our city forever. But this is the thing. The city has changed. Zohran knew it. Other candidates didn't see it. And that is why we are here celebrating this incredible moment. God bless you all.
And then we're going to bring on the candidate. Just 2 minutes and I'll be gone. Just listen. All throughout my public career, I have rejected the politics of fear, the politics of division, the politics of hate, the bias of low expectations. And Zohran, all throughout this campaign, rejected all of that as well. He kept focused on his message. He wasn't concerned about the money. It was all about the power of the message, the power of his word. And so I saw in my beloved Brooklyn and all throughout this city that this campaign was fueled. It was fueled by the power of people. People yearning for change in this city. People who heard his message. And we all came together. And I want those who are listening, who came to me, who called me, who texted me, who emailed me, who were afraid. I want all of you to know that after this campaign is over, we will all come together. We will heal this city. And I want all of you to know that you need to understand that Zohran is really a man who respects the humanity of everyone. The primary is now over. And tonight, we celebrate the victory. Tonight represents a resounding win
friends. Tonight, we made history. In the words of Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done. My friends, we have done it. I will be your Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City. An hour ago, I spoke with Andrew Cuomo about the need to bring this city together as he called me to concede the race. And I want to thank Brad Lander. Together we have shown the power of the politics of the future. One of partnership and of sincerity.
Let's go! There we go!
Today, 8 months after launching this campaign, with the vision of a city that every New Yorker could afford, we have won. We have won from Harlem to Bay Ridge. We have won from Jackson Heights to Port Richmond. We have won from Maspeth to Chinatown. We have won because New Yorkers have stood up for a city they can afford. A city where they can do more than just struggle. One where those who toil in the night can enjoy the fruits of their labor in the day. Where hard work is repaid with a stable life. Where 8 hours on the factory floor or behind the wheel of a cab is enough to pay the mortgage. It is enough to keep the lights on. It is enough to send your kid to school. Where rent-stabilized apartments are actually stabilized. Where buses are fast and free. Where childcare doesn't cost more than CUNY. And where public safety keeps us truly safe. And it's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism. To stop mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors. And to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party. A party where we fight for working people with no apology. A life of dignity should not be reserved for a fortunate few. It should be one that city government guarantees for each and every New Yorker. If this campaign has demonstrated anything to the world, it is that our dreams can become reality. Dreaming demands hope. And when I think of hope, I think of the unprecedented coalition of New Yorkers that we have built. For this is not my victory. This is ours. It is the victory of the Bangladeshi auntie who knocked on door after door until her feet throbbed and her knuckles ached. It is the victory of the 18-year-old who voted in their first ever election. And it is the victory of the Gambian uncle who finally saw himself and his struggle in a campaign for the city that he calls home. Dreaming demands solidarity. And when I look out at this room and out onto the midnight skyline, that is what I see. Canvas launches that continued in the pouring rain. Children who called parents. Strangers who care about those they will never meet. A New York that believes in each other and in itself. This is solidarity. And it defines our victory. And above all, dreaming demands work. Last Friday night, as the sun began to drop in the sky, I set off on a 13-mile walk from the northernmost tip of Manhattan to the base of the island. We began in Inwood, where music played and neighbors set out dominoes on the sidewalk. It was 7 p.m. The weekend had arrived. For most people, the time for work was over. But this is New York, where the work never ends. Waiters carried plates on 181st Street. Conductors drove the subways that rattled high above 125th. And world-class musicians tuned instruments as we passed Lincoln Square. By the time we made it downtown, a crowd marched behind us, a living embodiment of the energy and purpose that defines this campaign. Still, long past midnight, New York worked. Garbage trucks weaved through empty streets. Fishmongers carried in tomorrow's wares. And when we finally arrived at the Battery at 2:20 a.m. in the morning, the workers who run the Staten Island Ferry were on the job too. Just as they are every hour of the day, every day of the week. Each of these New Yorkers carried a dream with them that night as they labored. Just as each of us dreams of a New York that is more hopeful and affordable for all. And we have worked hard for our dream. This has been a historically contentious race. One that has filled our airwaves with millions in smears and slander. I hope now that this primary has come to an end. I can introduce myself once more. Not as you've seen me in a 30-second ad or in a mailer in your mailbox, but as how I will lead as your mayor. I will be the mayor for every New Yorker. Whether you voted for me, for Governor Cuomo, or felt too disillusioned by a long, broken political system to vote at all, I will fight for a city that works for you, that is affordable for you, that is safe for you. I will work to be a mayor you will be proud to call your own. I cannot promise that you will always agree with me, but I will never hide from you. If you are hurting, I will try to heal. If you feel misunderstood, I will strive to understand. Your concerns will always be mine, and I will put your hopes before my own. And I know that those hopes extend beyond our 5 boroughs. There are millions of New Yorkers who have strong feelings about what happens overseas. I am one of them. And while I will not abandon my beliefs or my commitments, grounded in a demand for equality, for humanity, for all those who walk this earth, you have my word to reach further, to understand the perspectives of those with whom I disagree, and to wrestle deeply with those disagreements. Let me close with this. In these dark times, I know that it is harder than ever to keep faith in our democracy. It has been attacked by billionaires and their big spending, by elected officials who care more about self-enrichment than the public trust, and by authoritarian leaders who rule through fear. But above all, our democracy has been attacked from within. For too long, New Yorkers have strained to find a leader who represents us, who puts us first. And we have been betrayed time and again. After so many disappointments, the heart hardens, belief becomes elusive. And when we no longer believe in our democracy, it only becomes easier for people like Donald Trump to convince us of his worth. For billionaires to convince us that they must always lead. As FDR said, democracy has disappeared in several other great nations. Not because the people disliked democracy, but because they had grown tired of unemployment and insecurity, of seeing their children hungry while they sat helpless in the face of government confusion and weakness. In desperation, they chose to sacrifice liberty in the hope of getting something to eat. New York, if we have made one thing clear over these past months, it is that we need not choose between the two. We can be free and we can be fed. We can demand what we deserve. And together we have built a movement where everyday New Yorkers recognize themselves in our vision of democracy. Every new voter registered, that is faith renewed. Every voter who traveled through withering heat to the polls, that is faith renewed. And every New Yorker who sees solutions to the daily challenges they face in this campaign, that is faith renewed. Together, New York, we have renewed our democracy. We have given our city permission to believe again. And I pledge to you that we will remake this great city, not in my image, but in the image of every New Yorker who has only known struggle. In our New York, the power belongs to the people. And as I thank the people that are here with me today, and as I thank the incredible leaders who have long fought for those people, who are here across this crowd and across these 5 boroughs and standing next to me in the Attorney General of this state, in the Public Advocate of this city, in our Congresswoman, Nydia Velázquez, in our controller, Brad Lander, and in every single person who believed in this campaign long before it was easy to do so. And you believed when it was difficult. We dreamt in the night, and we are now building in the dawn. That new day, the one that we have yearned for, the one that we have struggled for, the one that we have knocked for, have texted for, have called for, the one that we have obsessed over. That new day is finally here, my friends. And it is here because you have delivered it. Thank you. And as I thank you, I must thank those who brought me into this world. I must thank my mother and my father. Mira and Mahmoud. And I must thank and I must thank my incredible wife, Rama Duaji. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now let us lead this city into one that is affordable for each and every New Yorker.